Hello and welcome to Relatively Crafty, a knitting podcast. This is episode 26. I am your host, Cristi. You can find me on Ravelry as Cristi-Lael and on Instagram as Cristi-Lael without the dash. I live here in the Denver area of Colorado, having moved here from Southern California back in September. I am wife to Ron and mother to two daughters, Tatum, who is 12, and Delaney, who is 9, and whom are both out of school now and making life a lot more complicated than it normally is. I get very used to having the main part of the day to myself to run errands and take care of things without having to worry about carrying two smaller people with me. And today is their first official day of summer. Yesterday they were off as well, but yesterday was Memorial Day here in the United States, and so everybody was off. But today we had to run some errands, and we all had to go together, and it's nice to spend the time with them, but of course it does add just another dimension of stuff to my travels. And for that reason, I am recording later than I normally would have. I've already run several errands this morning, including getting the mail, and I have lots of new stash to show. I got 16 different skeins in the mail today. I don't think I'm going to show them all today. I might save some for next week. But yeah, normally the mail hasn't come when I record, so there you go. So it was kind of a benefit to have them with me because I have more to show you. Anyway, if you are new to the podcast, welcome. This is a knitting podcast. I don't do any other crafty things. I am only a knitter. That's one of the reasons why my channel is called Relatively Crafty, because I'm only relatively crafty. And if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I love having people come and enjoying the podcast. I love to talk about knitting. I love to watch people talk about knitting. I love to talk with people about knitting. I just really like knitting quite a lot. So, I didn't mention we have a Relatively Crafty podcast group on Ravelry where we talk about knitting. So if you are so inclined, please feel free to go and check out the group. We have chitter chatter and people show off what they've made, and there's lots of support, which I like a lot. I really appreciate all of you who are chatting in the group and supporting other knitters. That really means a lot to me. I try to spend as much time as I can in there, but of course life gets in the way and I can't be in there 24/7, so I do really appreciate all the help I'm getting. And then we also do giveaways now and again, and we have knit-alongs. We are currently in our first knit-along, which is the summer sweater KAL that I am hosting with Sarah of the Relatively Crafty, which I am hosting with Sarah of the Canadian Knitter Podcast. And you are welcome to post your FOs in both her thread and in mine to give you a double chance at winning a prize. The KAL started on May 1st and it will go until June 15th, so you have a little bit over 2 weeks left with which to make your summer sweater. It can be any kind of, torso covering garment that you can justify to be a warmer weather outfit or garment. So, whatever works for you works for me. I'm really easy with it. And we do have some prizes, which I haven't shown in a while, so I'll show them now. First prize is a skein of Yarn Cafe Creations in Ocean Mist. This is her fluffy sock, I believe, and it is just this really gorgeous skein. I loved this so much that I ended up buying myself a second one that you saw last week. And then our other prize was so graciously donated by Erin of Bling Your String, who is one half of the Knitting at Tiffany's with added bling. I almost said breakfast at Tiffany's, and that would be wrong. And so she donated this really gorgeous, kind of large-sized project bag with all of these yarn balls on it. It's a square bottom bag, and it also comes with some coordinating stitch markers here. So you have both those prizes. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to give them out. I haven't decided whether or not I'm just going to have one brand prize or if I'm going to do an FO thread prize and a chatting prize. I will admit that I'm kind of leaning towards that. I realize that not everybody is going to be able to get a whole sweater done during the KAL, and I feel like if you put forth the effort, then you should at least have an opportunity to win something. So I think I will probably end up doing, one of those prizes as just a prize for those who chattered in the chattery thread, and then a prize for those who finished their sweater. But I haven't decided which one's which. So feel free to join. You still have 2 weeks, as I said. And then if you have finished your sweater, please put them in the FO thread. I think we only have one entry so far, so you've got a really good chance to win something. So I believe that is all of the administrative stuff, so let's go ahead and get into the FOs. I have 2 FOs to show you today. I was hoping to have 3, but I just didn't quite get there. The first one I have is a pair of socks. I finished my Desert Vista Dye Work socks. If you recall, this is a very fun colorway. This one is Monopoly, and this one is Monopoly Money. So I got a 50-gram skein of each color, and I used them to make a single sock each, which I like quite a lot. I think they came out really cute. The keen-eyed amongst you might notice that I did not do an afterthought heel with these, which is my usual habit with stripy socks, and I didn't. I did a Fish Lips Kiss heel. And this is kind of a great example of why I don't often do a Fish Lips Kiss heel with stripy socks, because you do lose the continuity of those stripes when you put in the heel. With an afterthought heel, the heel is done separately after the entire sock is done, and so you are just kind of building off of the knitted garment instead of building it as you go, and so you keep the continuity of the stripes. However, I was really stressing about being able to get these done in time because I had to have these done by tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last day of the month, and I wasn't sure if I was going to make it. And I was away from the house with this one. We had some friends come and stay with us this weekend from California, and it was kind of a last-minute thing. It was great to visit with them, but I didn't come prepared, and so we were out, and I had to do the heel, and I didn't have anything else to work on, and I knew that if I put it aside, I would lose that time, and I was really worried that I wasn't going to get them done in time, and so I just went ahead and did a Fish Lips Kiss heel. And on this first one, I didn't think it would matter because you can see that the stripes are uneven. And I think that coincides with the way that the Monopoly Money is. You get a big stack of the $1, but you only get a small stack of the $1,000 or the $500. And so I think, although I haven't pulled out a Monopoly game to see, I don't play Monopoly anymore because I'm not competitive enough to really enjoy Monopoly, and I just want everybody to get along and have fun, and so it just stresses me out. But yeah, I think that's why the stripes are different on this colorway. However, when I got to the Monopoly game colorway, you can see that the stripes are exactly even. So there you go. And I've got one single stripe of yellow here. It didn't work out quite as well with the Fish Lips Kiss heel as it did with this first one. But that's okay. I'm fine. Not all my socks have to be exactly awesome, perfect, the best socks in the world, right? So these ones are fine. They will still fit nicely, and they will still feel good, and I still will enjoy wearing them. So there is my first FO. My next FO is my Bendy Arrow shawl by Charlotte Bory. I got that finished up this week at least. So we started with this corner, and I used this unknown 80/20 fingering weight yarn. I say unknown because a friend of mine dyed it for me in a partner swap like 3 years ago, and I finally found a good use for it. I'm really glad that I used it for this project. And then we get into the stripe section, and then this section, and this shows you the ancient arts in the Vancouver colorway that I used to complement. And I want to thank everybody for the really kind words that you guys said about my color choices. I got a lot of compliments on them last week. I had mentioned in last week's podcast that I wasn't sure about putting the green with the ancient arts together, but a lot of people said that it was a really good pairing, and I'm feeling a lot more secure about it. So I do appreciate that. As I got a little bit further, it felt a lot better. So so you start here, and then you have the stripey section, and then this is about where I was last week. I was just starting the short row section with the green, and so you can see that, and then that's when it turns direction and you start going this way. And then you can see just happened to be at my yarn shop last Tuesday for knit night, and they had a little mini in Knitted Wit, one of their gumballs, which is just a 45 yard mini in just a perfect companion blue for this. And so I added one of the stripes in blue, and then did the other stripe in the green, and then continued on with a large section of the ancient arts, and then finished it off with that blue. And the reason I opted to finish it off with the blue was because I wanted to have as much of that green left over for heels and toes. I have about 20 grams left, so I should be able to use that for heels and toes. And I have about 9 grams left of the ancient arts, so I'll be able to use that for in a granny square blanket whenever I get around to making it. So yeah, there you go. It's finished, and I like it, and I can't wait until it gets cold enough to wear it again, or cold enough again to wear it. Not to wear it again because I haven't worn it yet, but yeah, I'm really pleased with how it came out. I'm really glad that I opted to make this pattern. I really enjoyed it. It was a fun knit. There you go. Bendy arrow. All done. And that is all of my FOs, but I do have a couple of whips. I do have my Cloudy with a Chance of Rainbow socks mostly done. They just need heels at this point. And I went ahead and put in a piece of waste yarn for the second sock so that I won't have to do the true afterthought heel with the cutting. As I said before, I have done it, I just don't enjoy it. So yeah, that is my plan for today or tomorrow. I have to have them finished by tomorrow at midnight, I assume. But I don't think that'll be a problem. An hour, maybe an hour and a half, I should be able to get both of these in and done. And then I showed you this hoe last week, and I had just cast on for the second sock. I have done just a little bit more. I basically gotten to the point where I'm ready for the heel, but this is way low on the totem pole. If I finish these socks before tomorrow night, that would be great, but I don't care if I don't. So once I get the heels done on the Cloudy with a Chance of Rainbows, we'll see how I feel about working on these. And then lastly, in my extra jumbo, not extra jumbo, just jumbo. You don't need extra jumbo. Jumbo is plenty. You Sew and Sew bag, I have my my Backshore by Alicia Plummer. And I had really hoped to get the whole body done before I talked to you guys today, but I just didn't quite make it. I would have if I hadn't added some extra length, but as I said, I like them to be a little bit longer. So here's what I've got so far. All the way down there. Let's see. So this star was where I was last week, so I added about 3/4 of a gray stripe, and then a blue stripe, and then another gray stripe. And this is where I added the length in this added gray stripe. I should have, according to the pattern, I would have finished the, it's not ribbing, it's a special like woven stitch, but that would have been done in the gray, and it would have only been 2 inches, and then that would have been the end of it. But I wanted to have it a little bit longer, so I've added the gray stripe, and I'm going to finish it off in the blue. And I don't know if you can see, but I've got one row done in the blue. So I've just got to do 2 inches of the woven stitch, and then the body will be done. And then I will go and do the neckline and then the sleeves. And the sleeves are only 3/4 length, so I should be able to get them done before the end of the KAL, at least. I had really hoped to get this whole sweater done in May, but I just didn't make it, and you know, that's okay. So yeah, and I am in the second skein of both the blue and the gray. I have knit about half of those skeins, so I'm not going to use very much of the third skein, I don't think. Which leaves me quite a lot left over of both the blue and the gray. I'm going to have to use them to pair with other things, because I think I have like three of the blue left and 2 of the gray, not including what I've pulled out for the sweater, which is good, because then I get to make something else. And of course, if you watched last week's podcast, you will notice that I did not get to this skein. I was going through and editing last week's podcast, and I was thinking to myself, what was I thinking? Because I said in the podcast that I thought I could get, you know, finish up the Cloudy with a Chance of Rainbows socks, of which I had like 3/4 of a sock left to knit, plus start and finish the Monopoly socks, plus finish the other roller that I am knitting with the Socks That Rock, that I had only barely started the second sock on, and get these done, and finish possibly my backshore sweater, all in last week. I don't know what I was thinking. So yeah, so I did not touch this. However, I will be casting this on Thursday. This will be my first sock for June. And then, as you know, I like to go through at the end of the month and kind of pick out the socks that I plan on knitting for the following month. I have the yarns that I plan on knitting for my box of socks all set out. They're all older striperies that I've had in my stash for a long time that I want to finally knit up. And so I went through and picked out the sock that I'm going to do for June, and that is this one. This is Biscotti. And it was back when they were called Biscotti and C, in their Felix base, which is an 80-20 merino blend, and the colorway is, it's French, Princesse et les 7 Mays. I'm sure that I butchered that. I apologize. I do not speak French in any way. So it's a blue, red, and kind of an orangey yellow marigold type color striper. So yeah, I've had this in my stash for a long time. Looking forward to finally knitting it up. And then I do have to pick out my Desert Vista Dye Work socks, but I would like to get some advice on that. And I have 4 skeins now, but I'm going to show you those next week. Those are 3 of them are ones that I got this week and got today, but I'm going to save those for my stash enhancements for next week. But the other fingering weight skeins that I do know that I definitely want to knit up in June are these. I'm knitting a pair of socks for a friend. It's an arrangement that we've made between the 2 of us, and she sent me the yarn for those socks, and it's gorgeous. I'm really kind of excited about it because she picked such a great yarn for me to knit the socks out of. This is Miss Babs, and I have worked with Miss Babs before, but only with her sport weight yarn, and I know that it's highly desired yarn, and it's obvious to see why. I mean, look at how great this colorway is. This is Hot Shot, which is a 3-ply fingering weight yarn, and the colorway is Joan of Arc, and it's just gorgeous. I can't wait to see how these knit up, and the base looks really, really nice and squishy. And then the only other pair of socks that I have set out for myself so far, Amy of Stranded Dye Works is doing a Brit Knit KAL, where you have to knit yarn out that you have purchased from British dyers, and And I don't have as much yarn from British Dyers as I would like. Now, I've got plenty from Hand Dyed by Kate, but it has to be 300 yards or more knit to qualify for the KAL, and her sock sets, at least the socks that I've made out of her sock sets, haven't qualified. So I definitely want to be able to do something with this knit along, and so I thought, why not knit Amy's yarn and use that since it's her KAL. So I've got this skein of Stranded Dye Works in Oasis, and it's a street art one-of-the-kind colorway. It's just gorgeous. It's a lot more purple than street art normally is, and I just think it's beautiful, and I can't wait to knit it. So that is definitely going to be a pair of socks for me for this month. And then lastly, I lied. I do have this other pair that I want for socks. Lolo did it in the Hippo for Cinco colorway. In order to qualify for her KAL, I need to have these knit by the end of June, so I'm going to put those on my list. And I went ahead and got a skein of Ow! I Feel Good to complement as a heel toe skein. So yeah, definitely going to be working on these for me. And then I also need to knit her Hippo for Mother's Day, or Hippo for Mom colorway by the end of June as well to qualify for her KAL. So I'm going to go ahead and I think make a hat for myself. I was thinking about making it for my brother, but who wants a sock head hat, but I've actually found that the Hippo for Dad colorway, which I've ordered and am waiting on, is a better match for Justin. So I'm going to knit this for myself instead. I'm not sure what pattern I'm going to make, but it's definitely going to be a hat, and it's definitely going to be for me, and I'm definitely going to love it. So those are my plans for socks for June. As we all know, I don't always pick out enough for the ones that I'm going to get finished, and so I will probably end up picking, another one here and there throughout the month. I may end up changing out some things, but tentatively, those are the ones that I have penciled in for next month's sock knitting. Okay, so what I have left is yarn haul. And as I said, I got 16 skeins in the mail today. It was crazy. It's a little overwhelming. I don't like it when they all come at once. I would love it if I could have them staggered, where like each day I get a package instead of 5 packages all in one day. But I can't expect the postal workers to completely cater to my desires as much as I would love to. So anyway, I'm not going to show you everything. I will show you most of what I got today, but a lot of that is because a lot of them came from the same dyers. So I'll show you those, and then I'll save some of them for next week. So first, I have an order from Yarn Cafe Creations. She is quickly becoming one of my favorite dyers. I just love the colorways that she comes up with, and I like the base too. It's a nice soft base. This is her full-bodied sock, which is also 75-25, just like her fluffy sock. But this one, I think, is a little bit more smushy, maybe? Anyway, this colorway is Kelpie, which I wasn't going to get because it's really pink, and I'm not a big fan of pink. However, I have seen this knit up now a couple of times. Cristi at Yarn Cafe, Cristi at Yarn Cafe showed socks that she made for herself on her podcast, which she has with her daughter, Tristan, who dyes Dragon Horde yarn. They have the Girls in the Yarn Cafe, and so she showed her socks, and they were gorgeous. And then Carrie at the Creative Obsession just showed a pair of socks that she made in this colorway recently, and I just really like the way that they turned out. So I think the highlighter yellow that's in here is kind of like offsetting the pink for me, but I'm really excited about them. It's just a very, very pretty colorway. And then I also got a skein of Fruta Bomba, which is one that Cristi just recently showed on her website, or on her podcast rather, and I just thought it was gorgeous. So it's teal, kind of a blue-green, not quite teal, but a blue-green with orange, bright orange and purple and all kinds of colors in there. So yeah, really excited about these ones as well. And then there was recently a yarn festival in Canada, and I have a couple of friends in Canada, but one in particular happened to be going there, and she asked me if there was anything that I would like for her to pick up for me as kind of a personal shopper type thing. And I knew that Erin of Bling Your String was going to be there. So I asked my friend Sam if she would pick up some sock blanks in Erin's booth, because Erin is having a year-long sock blank KAL in her group, her Bling Your String group. And so yeah, and it was kind of cool because I was texting with Erin over Instagram about which ones that I wanted, and then messaging Sam about which ones I'd wanted. And so it was kind of cool because they were able to, between the two of them, I got what it was that I was hoping to get. So the first one is called Mint Poppy, and it's like red and some brown and some black maybe, and just this really great mint color and some blue. Really like that one. Very excited. I like the splatter look. And then the second one is called Kiss and Teal. I love that name. And it's this just purples and oranges and this great teal color. Just lovely. I can't wait to see what these knit up to be. I have only knit with sock blanks once. I knit Carrie's, the Creative Obsession. I knit one of her sock blanks, and I gotta tell you, I dealt a little bit with, just feeling kind of weird about my sock stitches being wonky when I was knitting them, but I finished those socks and I washed them once, and the wonkiness went away, and they are really fun, comfortable socks. I love the way they feel. They're one of my favorite pairs. So yeah, I think I'm going to be definitely a sock blank knitter whenever I can get my hands on them. And I did get my hands on quite a lot. So I have the two from Erin, plus I got an order from Hand Dyed by Kate. She has started dyeing sock blanks. So this is called Ember, and it's just like a really good fiery orange tonal, which I think is really cute. And then I got some other yarn from Hand Dyed by Kate. I had made an order in March for 3 sock sets from her, and they got lost in the mail. And Kate was really awesome because she replaced those for me and sent them out with the more recent order that I just made. So those 3 sock sets are Toxic Pond Scum, a beautiful, beautiful series of blues, and some great bright, bright greens. And then this one called Springy. I'm not sure what exactly I'm going to do with this one yet. This heel toe skein is really pink, so I may save that for something else and get a different heel toe skein, because this is perfect for me. This pink is perfect for my mom, so I may try to use the heel toe skein for a pair of socks for my mom. And then the last one that I had ordered from her in March was this one, which is Ode to Iris. Just a really pretty, green and purple and white iris colors, and then a matching purple skein. And then the more recent order that I had made from her that she sent those replacements with was the sock blank that I just showed you, and then this eye-searing beauty, which is called Lux, and I could not turn that down. I mean, I love highlighter yellow. And then the last yarns that I have to show you today come from Stranded. I really like her as a dyer as well. There's so many colorways that she's made that I want to get my hands on. So she had an international friendly update just recently, and so I grabbed some from her, including Naive Watercolor, which is just a nice combination of colors. And then 2 more sock blanks. One is Street Art. And then lastly, I have Reef Dive. on Sock Blank, which is probably my favorite colorway of hers. It's got so many great saturated colors. So yeah, so expect quite a lot of Sock Blanks knit from me, probably over the summer. I'm really excited. I have now several, and yeah, and really, guys, my yarn hauls will get quite a bit smaller from here on out. A lot of this stuff was like the last hurrah. I will still pick up a skein now and again, but I will go into having one, maybe two skeins to show you on my podcasts, and maybe even having weeks where I don't have anything to show you now, instead of having multiple skeins to show you. Not counting next week, of course, because next week I've got 4 that I didn't show you today. Plus I have another one coming. But yeah, so anyway, guys, that is it. I'm sorry if this podcast seemed discombobulated or highly edited, because my children kept making noise downstairs. So if you heard any noise, I'm going to try to edit them all out. But if I can't, I do apologize. They've been home for 1 day, and they're already bickering. So, gotta find more things for them to do with their time. Alright, guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. Happy knitting. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.